Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Hello. You are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Welcome. I am back. Thank you guys for all your get well messages. I am so sorry about last week, but what happened was I worked a convention up in Central Jersey, and by the time I got home on Sunday, my ass was pretty well kicked. I was coughing. My voice was gone because I was handling two actors from one of my favorite independent horror films called Terrifier, and just, that's 3 days of talking to fans and helping them, and it was an amazing weekend. Chiller is an amazing Jersey con, and I absolutely love it, but it kicked my butt. And it's actually one I haven't worked before. I've attended, but I've never worked it before, so I just couldn't bring myself to be all sparkly on Monday night last night. And I did miss you all, but I really needed the break because I know y'all didn't want to sit here and listen to me cough. You know what? I have to tell you something, War Dog. I was really worried. I have never logged on pre-show to get everything set up and seen any chat messages. So I was thinking, oh my God, am I late? Did I get screwed up with daylight savings time going away too? But then I triple checked all of my clocks and no. But what I did get screwed up on and why I started a couple seconds after 10 is I updated my computer to Windows 11 and somehow I lost down in the right-hand corner. I used to just be able to click on the date, the little date and time, and I would actually get a little clock that came up with, it would tell you the time and then it would tell you the seconds. So at 10:50 or 9:59 and 30 seconds, I would start everything. But I lost it, and I guess I have to change my settings on my computer to get that back. I don't spend a lot of time on this computer. It's my desktop in my office, and I don't spend a lot of time. I wasn't messed up. Yeah, I did the update. You know what? And there's stuff that I like. I mean, I haven't totally explored it, but I just know that if you don't update, then eventually Windows 10 stops getting updated and you're just better off doing it. And since it was free, and you know what? If my computer does get foobarred, you can always reset it. You can always do that restore where you back it up back into 10. I just felt like, I'd give 11 a shot. And, there's a couple little things that I like. I like the new toolbar, and I am getting used to some stuff. But yeah, so far so good. So I haven't really felt overly messed up, except the clock, which I literally just realized wasn't working the way it used to. So I just need to fix that. And I'm sure there's a setting somewhere to bring that all back. But like I said, this is just so exciting. Domestic, Muhammad, War Dog, you're all here, and I'm so excited. Does that mean that the 7th rule ended early, or were they just so boring you guys all decided to come over early and check me out? Don't tell Ryan I said that. You guys at the same time. Hi, Domestic. Okay, so that doesn't have anything to do. Damn, I thought I stole y'all away from the 7th rule. Podcat is here. Say hi, Podcat. The new software I'm using, obviously, I blend in with my background a lot easier. I need to play with some stuff with that too as well that I didn't get a chance to. War Dog, you're going to love this, by the way. Oh, double streaming. Yep. War Dog is the king of multitasking. Here's another pseudo life hack. This shirt keeps disappearing. Cat, get down. There we go. So this very cool Enterprise shirt, I found it on eBay. Because I have found that eBay is way more, has way more Star Trek Enterprise t-shirt choices than StarTrek.com shop. So if you're looking for cool Enterprise gear, go on eBay. I got this for $15 plus shipping because it was an independent buyer. They were asking 25. I'm like, what the hell? I'll give you 15, and they said yes. No, they were asking 20. Being a Patreon, I've already seen. Oh, that's right. They record. So War Dogs. See, there's a lot to be said for recording and or going live. I like the live interaction. What I don't like right now is Podcat getting in the way. Normally I wouldn't mind you, but right now you're digging your claws in. So go play with your brothers or something, Or sit on the back of the chair, but you can't sit on my lap. You can't sit on my lap because you were digging your claws in. Sorry, little disciplinary issue right now. The thing about cats is they don't listen as well as dogs do sometimes. Let's see. You have listened on me. Aww, that's very sweet, Domestic. Yes, I love Podcat too, and I'm glad that he's back because, you know, he was taking a hiatus for a while, just not doing the on-screen thing. I think partially the fact that I stopped using the green screen, like the actual physical green screen, and this is all an app on my computer, might have something to do with why he's so anxious to be back. The irony being, of course, you can't really see him. So, you know, it's a big catch-22. So how many of you out there right now watching, show of hands, have seen the first 2 episodes of Star Trek Prodigy? Because that's what we're going to be talking about in a few minutes. And I just want to warn you, there will be spoilers, because how are you supposed to review something without spoil? I'm going to try and keep the spoilers as low as possible, but there's going to be spoilers. But the one thing, let's see, is this the right? Yep, this is the right page. The one thing I wanted to mention, in case you guys haven't noticed, and because you're not stalking the convention sites as much as I do, is that right now, Star Trek Las Vegas has more than twice as many guests as the official mission. Star Trek, yeah, ha, ha, ha. I haven't seen the other one yet, War Dog. I don't know how you got a sneak peek. But I'm going to talk about the first 2, even though the second one was labeled episode 3. Oh, is that why? Okay, well then I've seen everything. So I guess we're on the same page. For some reason, I didn't realize that. That's why the second airing said 3 instead of 2. See, now I get it. I just counted by viewings. I viewed anyway. But yeah, Mission Chicago, Star Trek missions, whatever they're calling it, they're stuck on that 6 guests, and it's in April. And Chicago is wickedly expensive to do everything. I have a cousin that's a travel agent, and she can't help me. So God knows if I'm even going to be able to make it to Chicago at this point. But right now, we all know that my favorite people are going to be in Vegas, and I love Vegas. So it might just be Vegas for me in 2022. Don't know yet. I will keep you all posted. I'm just really surprised. I thought a lot of people would be really interested in doing Mission, just because it's a new company, and a lot of people aren't real thrilled with Creation, and there are celebrities that don't like Creation, as well as, you know, attendees that don't like Creation. So I really honestly thought that Mission New York was going to really explode with the celebrities. I mean, Will Wheaton was announced the day they announced, and that has a lot to do with the fact that I'm sure that he does not like Creation. I mean, he does the cruise. So the fact that he was, you know, on board with Mission Chicago the minute they announced that he was part of the announcement really speaks to how anti-Creation he is. But I don't know. And honestly, right now, you know, with the way money is, I'm not sure I would spend the money to go to Chicago and spend the money to go to the event for who they have now. Add some Enterprise people, I might be interested, but so far, you know, just really light on the guests. So, Prodigy. War Dog's seen all of it. I don't know if you guys, if anybody else out there has seen it, but again, we are now in the spoiler part of the show. So, technically it's a little sooner than I'd like. I'll try to keep away from the 3rd episode as much as I can, because my rule of thumb, honestly, is to keep spoilers to at least a week out before you start talking. And technically we are not a week out, but still going to talk about it. Oh, so now you're standing on my notes. Wish you guys could see this. I might have to go back to the old green screen. He was walking all over my notes. First of all, Star Trek Prodigy is the very first Star Trek that is specifically... Hey, Chris! Wow, 2 shows in a row. So glad to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. We were talking earlier about whether or not daylight savings time kicked your butt. So I don't know how it was out for you in LA, but anyway, that's what we were just talking about earlier. But Star Trek Prodigy is the first Star Trek that has specifically been aimed at a younger audience. That's right, people. The TAS, thank you, Chris. The animated series. I gotta share this because Chris is always such a sweetheart. Thank you, Chris. The animated series, the original animated series was aimed at the same audience that the original Trek was aimed. It was basically the continuation for all of those letter writers and fans that wanted Star Trek to continue as a series. So the animated series, the original animated series, was geared towards an adult audience, and everybody thought The Simpsons was or the Flintstones was one of the first. Actually, the Flintstones was the first. The Flintstones, I believe, was the first animated series geared towards adults, and then you got Star Trek right on its heels. So Star Trek was not at the forefront of that, but they were really close. So anyway, so this is all about, in case you didn't know, but it seems like most people have seen it, Prodigy is about a group of misfits that basically steal this NX protostar and go off and go to see the galaxy. And it's in the Delta Quadrant, which is kind of cool because we're getting to pick up with the Delta Quadrant. It might have been, but that's not where that's all right. Chris probably knows the answer to this. War Dog, did you see the animated series in its first run? Was it really Saturday mornings when it was first out of the gate? Because let's see. Say this now. Dahl does have all the negative traits required to be a captain in Starfleet. He is pretty arrogant. But that's what's interesting. They have said, oh, see, I didn't watch it when it was originally. I didn't watch it when it was originally out. What adult would be up on Saturday morning to watch it? Chris, you never watched the animated. That surprises me about you, Chris, that you never watched the animated series. Oh, wow. I mean, I've seen it. I just don't remember when I saw it. So I didn't realize that it was actually on time. But it was still geared towards the same audience. So that's kind of weird. Well, I shouldn't say weird. I guess that's at the time. That's when all cartoons aired on Saturday mornings. But it was technically geared towards adults. Or to the, to the same audience. This is, it was actually supposed to, Star Trek Prodigy was actually supposed to air on Nickelodeon. Me too, Chris. I didn't say you weren't domestic. I was just surprised that that a cartoon that was supposed to be geared towards adults ended up on Saturday morning. I don't even remember. Somebody can look this up for me. Because obviously, I believe it was like the early 70s, but I don't remember when Star Trek, the animated series, first aired. Now that I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So it was originally supposed to, this Prodigy was supposed to be a Nickelodeon show, but then I guess Paramount decided in its infinite whatever, can't necessarily call it wisdom, that it was going to be part of the Paramount Plus Thursday Star Trek thing that they have going on. So Nickelodeon lost out on that, but they are a whatever you want to call it, it's a co-produced between the two studios. But and I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this in the last podcast, and it's been widely noted that it is not going to talk down to kids, which it shouldn't. And besides the fact that it's not going to talk down to kids, I think doing it that way also means that us adult Star Trek fans will still enjoy it because it's not a kiddie show. It's a show aimed at a younger audience that respects that a younger audience is much more mature now than, when we were kids. Let's see. Hey, Faith! Kid at the time, but my brothers and I did love it just like a domestic. It was 72. Yep. I thought it was early 70s. I was not old enough when it first aired, so I would have caught it in reruns. Mr. Google Pants says 73. Thank you, War Dog. You were closer than I would. Well, Chris, what is up with that? Why they've never watched Star Trek? I find that very disappointing. Hello, Johnny. Long time no see. Live long and prosper. Right back at you. So good to see you. So the fact that they're not talking down to kids means that we can sit and enjoy it. I think. And yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna have that life lesson about misfits and fitting in and learning how to work as a team. And Dahl is arrogant and he thinks he knows everything and he wants to take over and he wants to be the leader. So yeah, he definitely has captain's traits, but just like any egotistical child that thinks that they know everything, he's going to have to kind of, learn how to take all of that rawness and that raw enthusiasm and arrogance and energy and intelligence. He's going to have to take that all and Janeway Hologram is probably going to show him how to channel it. I'm really, really curious to see if the Janeway Hologram catches on that they're not Starfleet cadets, or how long they're going to keep that ruse up. Let's see. I've been using Prodigy to teach summarizing. There you go. That is awesome, Faith. You go. All right, I have to stop what I'm saying because Chris is distracting me. His kids have never seen Star Trek, including the one with their grandfather, the one and only Jeff Hunter. So whose choice was that, Chris? Did you ask them if they wanted to? I'm surprised you didn't sit them down when they were not old enough to hold the remote control and make them watch it. But whose choice is that? They're just not sci-fi people or what? I just got to know, Chris, so let me know in the comments. You all know I am not a Voyager fan, but I love the Janeway hologram so far. I love that in the second episode, while she's talking to them, all of a sudden she just gives herself a cup of coffee to talk. I love the fact that obviously they've upgraded the holographic systems for this new ship. And we know it's a new ship because it is an NX class, which we all know is near and dear to my heart. See, it's on here somewhere. NX, there it is. See, NX01. Near and dear to my heart is the NX class of ship. So we know that's an NX class. So the hologram, I think they learned a lot from the Doctor and how the Doctor and Voyager grew, because obviously they've imbued this hologram with a lot of Janeway's personality, and she's not just a computer program, which we absolutely love. How long is going to roll with it? No, that's true too. Well, I guess she said that was something that made them cadets, but I don't understand that either, because aren't there cadet uniforms? Well, all right. The Marvel Cinematic Universe and Star Wars, and yet no Star Trek. Okay, then y'all know my guest Randy Frank. Y'all know Randy. Randy's been on my show. We do Lambda Quadrant together. Randy's actually never seen Star Wars, and I just find that really hard to believe. So, and that's a balance. I'm just reading it. So your son knows Star Wars, your daughter knows MCU. Oh, I get it. So they're what about DC? It's for old people. I have to tell you, my best friend's kids don't watch Star Trek either, and I've told him on multiple occasions he's sorely lacking in their training. He's shown them Doctor Who, he's shown them Star Wars, he has yet to get them into Star Trek. But, okay, so what else do I want to say about Prodigy besides the fact that I like it? The second season, in case you guys haven't heard, the second season has already been approved, which is really exciting. They're splitting this season up. It's actually only got this week and next week. Wait, the calendar on this works, just not the clock the way I want it to work. So let's see. So yeah, they've got this week and next week, and then that's it for the first half of the season. And then the second half of the season is picking up on January 6th. So we've only got a couple more Prodigies. But then fear not, because we will have Discovery, I believe, is launching on the 18th of November. So, wow, all the felines are here tonight. Trip and Reed are under the desk. Anyway, so we're not going to be without Star Trek, but we're going to have to, they're splitting, for some reason, they're splitting the Prodigy season in half. Let's see. Faith says her kids are 5 and 18 months, and they both come running in from other rooms for the DS. Oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. Get bigger points was the Enterprise theme, but that's okay. What else do I love about Prodigy? I love that we've got Tellarites and Medusins. Larry Nemechek, actually, for those of you guys that were watching the Seventh Rule, was it last week? Well, Larry was on in that. I logged on to watch. They were doing a live stream, and I actually logged on to watch a bit of it. And I caught the end of Larry. Larry's so excited about the Tellarites being in Prodigy. I have to say, I agree with him. Anything that has more of a reference back to Enterprise than anything else excites the shit out of me. And yes, Tellarites existed before Enterprise, but when did we get to really see them? In the 3-episode arc in the 4th season, the whole thing with Babel, which actually was just on Heroes and Icons, which I don't get anymore, but I got my insider information. But that's where you really got to find out things like, yeah, that's it, the main viewer. Thanks, War Dog. Yeah, they were talking about that last week. And yeah, there you go. You definitely have to do that. Make them watch Strange New Worlds. So the fact that we're having they revamped the Tellarites a little bit, less furry in the face, but that's okay. The animation on them is really good. The fact that he's still combative and he does everything that Hoshi was training Archer for. They like to argue, they like to be contrary. If you don't get in their face and fight back, they don't respect you. All of that is in Prodigy. They also are reintroducing the Medusins, which for anybody that does not watch TOS or has not seen TOS, the episode, Is There No Truth in Beauty? And I always screw it up, so I actually wrote it down this time. I always screw up the title, which was actually one of the Diana Muldaur episodes. Don't like Diana Muldaur. Don't like anything she's done. Never liked Dr. Pulaski. She was annoying as hell. Actually hated Dr. Pulaski. And I have a Dr. Pulaski-ish story later. I'll tell you guys. But the Medusins were Zero. Zero is a very cool character. I love how Zero figured out a way to put themselves in that little robot so that they can function and talk to people and communicate with people without worrying about basically driving them insane. Because for anybody that doesn't know, nobody can look full on in a Medusan and see their natural form and not go crazy unless you're a Vulcan. And even if you're a Vulcan, you've got to wear these special visors, which Diana Muldaur fucked around with in that TOS episode and tried to drive Spock insane because she was jealous. She was a jealous biatch in that episode. So yes, I am hoping, Dahl, the main character, doesn't know who he is, doesn't really know where he comes from, which I think is going to work really well. Obviously, if you've got a young audience, I think that aspect of Dahl I think he's going to be a very relatable character to their target audience. Figuring out who he is, all that brashness, that, that I can do anything, I'm awesomeness. And hopefully what he'll learn is that it's okay to be that way. As long as you don't bully people, try to roll over people when you do it, that being confident in yourself is great. As long as you channel it correctly. And hopefully that's what Janeway is going to be there for, that gentle mentor type that's going to help them all coalesce as a team and find who they are. I loved that little gender twist with Rock Talk, where Dahl just assumed that she was a he from that build, from just being a giant rock person. And then she speaks. They finally get the universal translator online and she speaks. And it's like, wait a minute, you're a girl? Loved that. Loved that whole, you can't judge people based on you can't judge who they are based on how they look. And we all know that I'm all about, there you go, see? There you go. Everybody assumed. And then the fact that I think they made her look a little, I don't know if this was an accident or not, but when I see her, I can't help but think of the Thing from the Fantastic Four. So I think that might have led to some people with their preconceived notions that she was a he. So yeah, it was done. And as we all know, anybody that has watched me for any length of time knows I'm all about the organic. Don't shove it in my face. Just let it come organically. And that's exactly what they did with that. They let it come organically. She spoke, she was a girl, he went, oopsie, okay, and then let's just move on from that. And of course there's Murph, the little gelatinous guy, so cute, who the Universal Translator hasn't translated for yet. So I don't know if, I know back in the Enterprise days, it took the Universal Translator longer to latch on to some languages if they were more complicated. And we all know, well, actually we don't know. We don't know how much of the Delta Quadrant's been explored by the Federation since Voyager got back. I'm not sure if I've seen anywhere where it shows you what the span, I mean, obviously Janeway they could have made the Janeway hologram at any point in her life. So you can't base what the Janeway hologram is or how she looks. So I'm curious if anybody knows, or if they're going to mention how far between Voyager's return and Prodigy's, like where Prodigy falls on the timeline with that. But anyway, so point is is the UTI not being? Can the UTI not latch on? Does Murph have a language? So that would be interesting to see if Murph could be nonverbal. We don't know because we're only 3 episodes in. So let's see what this said this before. There's No Truth in Beauty is the only TOS show I was allowed to see. The adults had issues with the Jewish people and the African American and the Japanese. Okay, that's interesting. But now, domestic, you've made up for lost time, which is great because obviously I'm sure you've seen them all now. After Endgame, I asked about the timeline too. So far, the only consensus is after Endgame. All right, I'm assuming Endgame is the last episode of what? Because I'm assuming you're not referring to the Marvel Universe movie, Faith. But like I said, not a Voyager fan, and I've also said this before. I suck with titles. Totally suck with titles. So, help me out with that one, Faith. Last episode of Voyager. That's what I figured, but again, working really hard on not assuming stuff. So I didn't want to assume that. Makes sense though, because they finally made it home. Let's see, what else do I just like it. It's fun. It's a fun show. I'm anxious to see where it's going. How did the time cops allow that? Okay. I know that there were time cops in DS9, the whole thing with trials and tribulations, but I'm not sure how that would be affecting a Janeway hologram if that's just something they use to program. I mean, a Janeway hologram in a ship that goes to the Delta Quadrant makes a whole, pardon my French, but it makes a fuck ton of sense. I mean, if you're going to program any hologram into a Delta Quadrant bound ship, it would be her. So it actually makes a lot of sense that now, and Robert Beltran's supposed to be showing up as Chakotay. So that's going to be interesting. Are they going to stumble over a second hologram? Or later on, are they actually going to open actual communications with Starfleet? That's the other thing I like. They've all had these, to coin a phrase from Annie, they've had these hard knock lives. They've had these hard knock lives. So the ideal of the Federation and what the Federation represents is just a concept that is so far-fetched to these guys. Like, how could that even be? How could there be some place where you don't need money, that there are these ideals about treating everyone fairly and working together and democracy and freedom, and they're all like, how is that even possible? So I love that. So that's going to be interesting. Oh, right. Okay, there was that one episode of Voyager where she kept foiling their plans. They kept repeating the same day. They were groundhogging it, weren't they? They were repeating things, and Janeway figured it out. But again, I have to be honest, domestic. I don't see how they're Delta Quadrant based, if I'm not mistaken. I don't. Or are we talking? Wait, I'm trying to think. Was it that episode? Like I said, the only Voyager I watched was the stuff I fell asleep from. The only Voyager I watch is when I fall asleep when I used to have H&I and I'd fall asleep before Enterprise. So I've probably seen, give or take, every Voyager episode in bits and pieces. And then there was that time travel episode with Sarah Silverman where they went back to, what was it, like 90s LA, I think, which was kind of a good episode. So when you say Time Cops and Janeway, wait, okay. The Time Cop Janeway haters were in Enterprise. Now, the Time Cop Janeway haters were in Enterprise. Thanks, Big. You are awesome. Futures End. Jeez, which is like, that's a quote straight out of First Contact. The Borg Queen says, "Watch your futures end," right before the missiles, the photon torpedoes miss the Phoenix. She says, "Watch your futures end," and then it goes past, and then she yells Data, because Data was actually never under her spell. If you're talking about the Daniels crew from Enterprise, which, oh my god, I should know, like the temporal guardians or whatever those temporal guys were they really the same temporal guardian types that were in Voyager? Did anybody actually make that connection, or was it two different? Because like I said, I mean, the Federation had the Time Guardians back in the DS9 era because they came to bug Cisco after Trials and Tribulations. But so I would just assume that that's what evolved and that's where Daniels came from. But I never made a connection to Voyager. I could be wrong. We all know, again, for the umpteenth time, I know very little about Voyager. That's what I trust you guys like Faith, who's coming up with all these amazing episode titles for me. Like I said, I mean, I could warm up to Janeway as a hologram in Prodigy. I think all the characters are adorable. The Gwen, that's going to be interesting to watch her come around. You know, she did you know what? The one thing that upset me was that she didn't take the little Catsation child with her. Like, they turned around. She should have had them turn around. They should have figured out the transporter. But somehow she should have rescued that little Catsation. That's all I'm saying. It's the only thing I have a problem with. I hope they go back for her, because it's like Gwen's on a precipice of loyalty and duty to her father and knowing that he's wrong. So that's going to be an interesting struggle to watch her deal with. And again, I think that that's a really good lesson to learn. I mean, not ever to disrespect your parents, but just to learn to kind of to think for yourself and realize that not everything that somebody that let's not say 30, let's not say older, but sometimes there's people in your life that you trust and they start doing things and you know those things are wrong, like inherently in your gut, you know they're wrong. And that is a really great lesson to teach. Again, not to disrespect your parents, but maybe to, I guess the best way to put it is to intelligently question authority, not to just question authority because they're authority, but to question if you know something is wrong. If you have that gut feeling that something's wrong, then maybe you should do the Spock raise of an eyebrow because you know that it's wrong. All right. See, yeah, that's the thing. I never made the connection that way, that the time time cops from Voyager were the ones that were in Magic Lasso. Or in Magic Lasso, in Voyager. See, Magic Lasso? Hi! See, Magic Lasso is awesome. By the way, he gave me a shout out the other night on his live show, so I will always give a shout out to Magic Lasso. He is such a dear, good friend, known him for forever, and I will repeat, Magic Lasso is the name of his YouTube channel. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, you absolutely should. He didn't make me, he suggested, because I'm behind on his videos, he suggested that I watch this unboxing that he did a little while ago. And he and I actually had this conversation earlier about things that you should spend your money on, and even if they're really expensive and you really shouldn't, sometimes they're really worth it. You're welcome, Magic Lasso. He got, hold on, let me just get to Faith real quick before she disappears. We'll be back. Yeah, Too Cute Not To, and has been in 2 episodes so far. Yeah, she has. You had to look real quick, or you missed her because she was in the EV suit. Wait, hold on. You've been married, then yeah, never trust anyone, most especially your spouse. No, seriously. Domestic. That is not answering that question. Here and now, but it's something I've learned throughout life. I think it's something that everybody needs to learn. Is that, first of all, don't trust anyone. That's not what I was saying. Trust first thing, and I say this on the dating apps when people are like, trust me, after like give me your phone number, trust me. Trust is earned. It's not given. And once it's lost, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to get back. So it's not that I don't trust, it's that I do not blindly trust. Because there's definitely a difference. Like, I'll trust people to the ends of the earth. Trust Magic Lasso when it comes to all things Wonder Woman and comic books. No, I do. I trust Lasso. Lasso's a really good friend. But I don't blindly trust. It takes a while. It takes a long time to earn trust and respect. Those are 2 things that are earned. And on another personal note, really quick, respect is also earned. I think everybody starts at this is how I live my life. Not that you guys care, but I'm saying it anyway. Respect. RESPECT. There's a baseline of respect because we're all human beings. Everybody should respect everybody else because they are humans, and because we all occupy the same planet, and because everybody does definitely deserve to be treated with respect. But my respect bar can either be raised or lowered once I get to know you. If I don't know you, then you've got that baseline of respect. If I get to know you, it's either going to go up or down. That's how I look at respect. That's how I look at trust. And I have a feeling that Prodigy is going to be really good with organically teaching these lessons through science fiction. The way that the original series had a lot of things to say, and a lot of commentary on the times in which they lived at the time. And they did it very well. And I think science fiction is a really great medium for telling these stories without, again, making people think that they're being hit over the head, by doing it very organically, unlike other shows of the time. And I'm not going to get into my DC rant right now, but I just think science fiction really allows for better ways to tell stories and better ways to teach lessons, without making you feel like you're being taught something. Now, back to what Lasso and I were talking about earlier, because this goes, if you were here for the season, was it this? Yeah, if you were here for the season premiere, you all saw my TV guide, which I feel like I spent way too much for, but it was signed by Jolene Blaylock, Connor Chenier, and Scott Bakula. And the price I paid was just about this much more than I would have paid for an autograph of Scott Bakula if I ever bump into him again on the circuit. So I spent this much more. I got 3 autographs. Yes, one I already have, but I got 3 autographs for just over the price of a Scott Bakula autograph. And it made sense to me at the time, and I thought it was a sound decision. It completed my enterprise. It completed my enterprise set of autographs. Lasso has this really great unboxing. It's volume 71. I just watched it today. And he has, I have to say this, because we're just actually talking about the Marvel Universe. I don't know if you saw that earlier. He has a 9.8 graded slabbed comic book. It's a Captain America. It features Falcon. That's what I was looking for. It features the Falcon, Sam, and it was signed by Chris Evans. Now, did Lasso have a chance to meet Chris Evans and get the signature? No. Did he spend less money to get a huge, beautiful collector's item? Yes. And he spent less than he would have if he'd met Chris Evans and just got him to sign a plain old 8x10. So it's beautiful. If you want to see it, go watch volume 71. It's a beautiful cover. And it's got Chris Evans' signature on it. And we all know that Chris Evans is America's ass. And for those of us that are fans of America's ass, and who isn't? I mean, even Ant-Man. Let's see. Hold on a second. Very impressed with your knowledge and understanding of the CGC terms after watching the video. I have a confession to make, Lasso. CGC stuff, I sort of knew that before I saw the video. But for those of you that have absolutely no idea what I just said, go watch the video and you will learn what CGC, slabbed, graded, you'll learn what all that means. And it's actually really, really interesting. And it can apply to any comic. That includes Star Trek. So it can apply to any comic or, art. Let's see, hold on. I had no idea what I was talking about when I was talking Bewitched, but you got the... Sorry, now we're getting a little personal. Lasso and I were also talking about Bewitched earlier. Yes, aren't you really impressed? I knew more about CGC and grading and comic books than I did about when you were talking about Bewitched earlier. Let's see. We all know that usually when I get on a tangent and I start talking about other TV shows, I find a way to bring it back to Star Trek. Somewhere, somehow, there has to be some episode of Bewitched, just from the fact that it was during the same time, that somebody on Bewitched was in an episode of Star Trek. I can do a couple degrees of separation. I can play like the Kevin Bacon, because the actor that played Samantha's dad in Bewitched, if I'm not mistaken, in fact, I know this, and Lasso is going to correct me if I get this wrong. The actor that played the dad in Bewitched was in Batman 66. Who else was in Batman 66? The guy that played Harry Mudd in the original in I, Mudd and Mudd's Women. So we can sort of play a couple degrees of separation between Bewitched and Star Trek, but I bet you if I actually sat down and watched Bewitched, in fact, what I should probably do is watch it tomorrow, because we all know if I start talking about it on the podcast, it happens in the next week. So if I sat down and watched Bewitched tomorrow, I'd finally see somebody that was actually in Star Trek on Bewitched. But at least we can do like a couple degrees of separation for Trek. But, oh, that's funny. Sabrina was very cool. There was actually a really good episode where she sang. So, I don't know enough about Bewitched to play that game, but I bank there's some crossover too. Yeah, like I said, I'll just start watching. Bewitched is on some channel. I think it's on Antenna TV during the week. So I should just sit down and watch it, and somebody will probably pop up. Maurice Evans, thank you. Maurice Evans was the actor who played Samantha's dad, also named Maurice. See, this is why I keep you around, Lasso. So Maurice Evans was in Bewitched. He was in Batman. He was the puzzler in Batman. 2-part episode. It's the puzzler in Batman. And Batman also had Harry Mudd, that actor, I can't remember his name. Dick York. I don't know. Dick York. Oh, yeah. Samantha's dad. Yeah, not Samantha's husband. Samantha's dad. He was in a couple episodes. I loved Maurice. I loved when her family showed up, especially Uncle Arthur. I loved when her family showed up. Her family was fun. All right. So does anybody have any last parting words about Prodigy? As we all know, when you come to the NX 7062 podcast, you come for the tangents, not the topic. And tangents are going to be really fun next week because I will tell you I'm going to have a guest. Those of you that watch The Seventh Rule, Virtual TrekCon, or anything else put out by that amazing group know Melissa. And for those of you that were at that live event, that live stream that I went to, I invited Melissa to come on the show. She's been on the show before, but I invited her to come back to talk arts and crafts and Star Trek and all fun stuff. And I absolutely adore Melissa. And she is going to be here next week. So if you have any questions for Melissa that you wanted to ask her live instead of just typing them to her and hoping that they show up somewhere in a chat, I'm here to help you out. Because that would be fun. So anyway, yes. So yeah, we all love Melissa Longo, and Melissa is going to be here next week. The Puzzler was a Riddler. Oh, see, I love all the trivia. Was a Riddler written episode, but salary disputes with Frank Gorshin led to them using the Puzzler, who was actually a Superman comic villain. Dun, dun, dun. See, that's why he was a one-off. And I love that. Thank you, Lasso. See, but notice how I pulled that one out of freaking thin air. Like the things that are stored in this memory. Chris, I don't know if Chris Hunter is still with us, but his mom was actually in an episode of Batman in the 3rd season. She played Nora Clavicle. Barbara Rush played Nora Clavicle, and that was Chris Hunter's mom. So I don't know if he's still here, Chris, but definitely shout out to your mom. Tell her I said hi. I had the pleasure of meeting her last time I was out in LA back in May. Got an autograph on a Batgirl picture, so I'm really closing in on that. Everybody that's still alive from Batman 66, I have autographs. So I think that about does it for the Prodigy episode. Podcat even came in to say goodbye. I love how I duck and he disappears even more. Podcat and I are going to tell you all to live long and prosper. Come see me next week with my very, very special guest. I am so excited about my very special guest, Melissa Longo. Please don't forget, you can find me on Patreon and the Teespring shop. So if you want to support the show, if you want to help send me to Chicago, I would absolutely love that. Maybe I could even get some time with some of the celebrities there to ask your questions like I do every year at STLV. So please remember to check me out. Support the show any way you can. If you haven't already, hit like, hit the likes, hit the subscribes. And you know what? I will see you all again next week. And until then, anybody that's out on the East Coast and is finally feeling the chills, stay warm. And I will catch you all next week. And until then, live long and prosper.
Hey, this is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX 7062 podcast with Stephanie. Enjoy your evening.